The reason why you're saying that men are competitors is because they're not competitors just to say I won. They're competitors because they crave hierarchy, right? They crave power. Power destroys. Power does not create. It doesn't. I'm sorry. It doesn't. Power does not create. Please tell me how power has created. Power literally centralizes resources and sprinkles them out, and then people suffer. Okay? So no, it doesn't create. Women are creators.
So you said men are destroyers, women are creators. Explain to me, if men are destroyers, why have women destroyed the nuclear family because they initiate 70 to 80% of the divorces? Explain to me, why do women abort 1 million babies per year? Explain that to me. Explain that to me. Also, when you say that power is destroys, no, let me correct you. Power in the wrong hands, it destroys. You get anyone that has, nefarious ways or wants to, do bad things, of course they'll do evil things and they will destroy. But power in good hands, you would say that Jesus had power, right? Of course Jesus had power. Yes, we know he had power. He was a man. He was the most honest man on earth. A man that walked on water. A man that, healed the blind and all of these things. He was a man of power. But guess what? The power was in the right man's hand. And he did wonderful things. Not only just using Jesus, we can speak about many other things of men with power that did many good things. And when you're speaking about create, please tell me, you said women create things. Please tell me, you know that you're here and that you have a XX chromosome is because of your father, not because of your mother? So you know that you're here because of your father, because men determine the sex of the baby? Did you know that? You probably didn't know that. So guess what? Your father created you, not your mother. Your mother only brung about the process of you being here, but your father is the creator for you being a woman and me being a man.
Okay, so you said, tell me why we initiate the 70% of marriages. You getting out of a divorce is not a destruction of something, sir. It's you dissolving a partnership in which everyone walks away alive. You know what is a destruction of life? The 1 in 3 men who unalive the intimate partners, right? They're intimate partners within marriages. That's destruction. The fact that I'm using TikTok language. Homicide rates. Right? Homicide is the greatest factor why women are no longer on this earth. Homicide is because of intimate partner violence. That's destruction. Somebody getting a divorce where 2 people walk out of a relationship alive is not destruction, darling. When you guys kill your intimate partners within relationships, that's destruction. Okay? If I walk out of a relationship, you can move on to your next relationship and you can be successful in your next relationship. There's enough people on the planet. We don't need to worry about 1 million fetuses no longer being here, zygotes, embryos, all that. I'm sorry, we don't.
You're saying a lot of false things and you didn't refute anything I said, but let's just give another stat just to point out. I'm going to prove what you're saying is incorrect again. So do you know that in lesbian couples, they have the highest rate of domestic violence? That's 2 women. That's 2 women. That's 2 women in a relationship. Not a man and a woman. Where do you think you get your rights from? Can you answer that?
Oh, we live in a capitalist society and y'all would never survive if we weren't in the workforce. So we need
No, that's not answering my question. Where do you get your rights from?
Ourselves.
So you granted yourself your own rights?
I was born with my rights to walk on this earth.
Okay. Yes. So you granted yourself your own rights?
I was born with my rights to walk on this earth.
Okay,
yes.
No, but I'm asking you, who gave you your rights?
Not you.
Who do you get it from? What gender gives rights?
Oh, no gender gives rights.
No gender, so rights
Actually,
is...
Actually, women give rights.
Women
gave you the rights to breathe. Your mother gave you the rights to breathe. She carried you into this world. She gave you the rights to breathe air that you're talking crap with.
I don't think you can answer the question properly. Here's a question. If you get into a situation and you need to call the police, do you want a male officer to enforce your right for you, to protect you? Or would you prefer a male officer or a female officer to protect your rights, your human rights? Answer that question. Male or female?
All of that, and that's the question. Ugh, that's so.
It's
All
very
right,
simple
fine.
to give you understanding. Can you answer it though?
Hey, one mic, be respectful. Submit. Anyway,
Please answer the question.
so submit. So anyway,
Fatty, have her answer the question.
right?
Don't let her run from this.
Wait, it's fine. Let her land the plane, and if she doesn't answer, we're going back again. But
Cool.
she has a right to express.
I have a right to answer. Yes.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes.
Fatty.
And guess what? That's why a man.
If we want fun.
He enforced it.
Good night.
Oh
Go
my
ahead,
God.
Pretty. You got it.
So, I'm so sorry. I forgot your question. What was the last question you asked?
Yeah, because you wasn't paying attention.
Can you ask it again?
You lack comprehension
ask the
and
last
active
question?
listening skills.
Let's have the conversation. Let's have the conversation.
I
Fully.
got
Ask
it.
the
I know.
question.
I got it.
Just
The question is this: if you are in a situation and your life is
Who's
in
the female
jeopardy,
officer? Right.
Would
I
you
would
want the male or
prefer
female officer?
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rucha HaKodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you, brethren, you fellow believers of this truth, all you supporters of this truth, and that includes you few sisters, and shalom to the elect. So anyway, I'll try to keep this short. This is a video by this woman, pretty intellectual, she calls herself. Now, it's amazing how now, well, we know the Lord did it, but we know the system has set man and woman apart, that they're not even working together. You know what I'm saying? The question of feminism shouldn't even be a question. A woman's rights and the right to do this and the right to do whatever. As this guy Cooley said, who he has a problem with Hebrew Israelites, right? Which he learned a lot from us, I believe. He says, who give you the rights? Now, we've been saying this all the time, brothers in my camp, who gives them the right to abortions? Of course, it's men. Who gives them the right to drive? As they say, driving is not even a right, it's a privilege. So who gives them the privilege to drive? Who gives them the privileges to work in those offices? Right? It's various examples. But imagine that the food stopped. Imagine that men just took off work. This whole woman's tune would change quick. And it will. When the Lord starts bringing judgment, you know. See, this woman is not a bad looking woman, right? But she probably got hold of one of those black conscious Negroes who told her she was a queen, and now she believes she's above men. Believe it or not, the black men are the bigger supporters of black feminism. Believe it or not, we met quite a few that came to us and said women are goddesses and queens, and they need to be able to do what they want to do. So this is an example of a dirty, down low culture, you know, of black culture. So anyway, like I said, men take off for 6 months, and those roads that they drive to get to their jobs, those buildings that are built, the HVAC that keeps them cool and hot in all the comfortable seasons, the men that deliver their food when they order all that fast food, right? Those clinics that are built, you know, everything. It revolves around men, and men are the ones that run this world. Men are the ones that give feminism feminist rights. So really, feminism really don't exist. It does, but it doesn't. What I mean by it doesn't, that's not propagated and owned by women, by the way. There's people set up, there's cells that set up that control that, but no. The men that give them the right to have to promote feminism have their faces on the money and controlling the banks. Anyway, Psalms 110:3. Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power, in the beauties of holiness. From the womb of the morning, thou hast the dew of thy youth. Right? And we need another translation. Going down here, thy people offer themselves willingly in the day of thy power, and in the beauties of holiness from the womb of the morning thou hast the dew of thy youth. So you got to understand that at the end of the day, all this that's going on, when that time come, all is going to change. If where this woman is sitting right now and a big disaster happens, right, and a big explosion happens, a disaster happens, earthquake or whatever happens, something even more terrifying, a plane crash into the building, and she needs to survive, she's going to jump right in them men's laps quick. In this video, I listened to it. She eventually said she would have a man come to protect her if things got out of control. So I think what's going on in this video, there's a big separation between man and women and who need what. And this is how the woman is looking at it. We don't need men for this. We don't need men for that. And they just made such a big separation out of it, right? Where at the end of the day, if all hell broke loose, these women will be on a man quick. They just don't have the situations that will cause them to do that. But trust me, this woman right here, when that time comes, if she's around to see it, yeah, Isaiah 4:1, 7 women shall take hold of one man. Because at the end of the day, the Most High is a mighty and terrible power. What the scripture says, was it Psalms 83:2? For the Lord Most High is terrible. He's a terrible king, which means the most feared king. You know? So it doesn't benefit women. You know, all this feminism, it's enough women to go around for men. So it really doesn't benefit the women. You know? Now, the reason why I titled it like this, because there is white women that promote that as well. But nobody's on the level of Eve, man. Genesis 2:18. And the Lord said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. And that's what the Lord did. So this is why even this woman will say she Christian and most of these feminists, but the Lord sent a son. He didn't send a daughter. But somehow the feminists would uphold Mary and showing her nurturing baby Jesus. It's insane. The whole point of nurturing the babies, right, is your part as a female, as a woman, to help bring the life into the earth from your husband. This is why we see there's no working together. The woman talking like this, saying the mother gives you the right to breathe. You know what I'm saying? Now, when somebody's thinking like that, they've separated themselves from the men who put their seed in them. So the point of them putting their seed in them is they supposed to carry out the duties of the leadership of their husband to make sure that child comes out in perfect health and is nurtured in perfect health. See, back then it was done for the husbands, but they've gotten away from it. Now these women are getting pregnant for themselves, right? And as Cooley said, the abortion rate, she said it's enough fetuses on the planet, which is absolutely false. But this is how they think. This is how much hatred Eve had for you, man. You know, that scripture says, why do the heathen rage? They can go for Eve too, man. Right? Genesis 3:16, unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception in sorrow. Thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. And that was the plan anyway. That's why you were created second, for the desire to be ruled by your husband. It's just so out of control. And you know, these panels, they sit here and everybody's hustling for the entertainment. That's what it seems like to me. So you get these conversations and they got to be controversial, and then you'll have a bunch of men and a bunch of women arguing back and forth, and this is why it doesn't go anywhere. It just it affects the male audience, and then you have the woman with the female audience. You know, that's why we say let the blind lead the blind. You know, none of these people in the truth. Right? 1 Corinthians 11:8. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. Right. So this is why when you understand a union being together, right, a woman is not supposed to be thinking that they're better than you or even equal to you. It's not even supposed to be thinking that. In a sense, they should know that they're under you. They shouldn't even have to think that. You're the head. There's a reason why a man has 1,000 deciliters of testosterone into a woman's 20 so-called, I guess, hormone, that helps her with muscle, so to speak, and helps her growth. A form of testosterone, let me say that, and a lot of estrogen. So even the chemical makeup is different. If you get a CBC blood count, well, guess what? It's going to say such and such for men, such and such for women. Hell, they even got laxatives for women. I mean, these women are all claiming to be equal, but yet they have all these things that's set aside just for them. Deodorants, laxatives, soaps. So they're letting you know that they're the weaker vessel. But the society flips it and gives them all these amenities because they are the weaker. And really what that's doing is making them the stronger vessel. This is why when you look at situations in families or in confrontation, the woman can go up to a man 3 times her size and hit him without getting any repercussion or punishment, or accountability. But a man understands that 4'9" or 5 foot tall man is not going to just walk up to a 6 foot tall man that's bigger and stronger than him and no MMA and going to fight him. This is the delusion. What is it called? Delusion of grandeur, where you believe you're more powerful than what you are. And that's Eve. She believes she's more powerful than what she is. But this is what the Lord said. Hosea 4:14, I will not punish your daughters when they play the whore. But why? Nor your brides when they commit adultery. This is why you say the Bible isn't real? Well, you're seeing it play out right here. For the men themselves will go aside with prostitutes and sacrifice and with cult prostitutes, right? Which really, this is another translation, but what they'll do is they'll go aside and get spoiled by other doctrines, right? Like that black conscience doctrine. The black woman is God. The black woman is a queen, right? And the people without understanding shall come to ruin. So the Lord, as in Job, let me get that real quick. Yep, the Lord is in Job. This is what the Lord said. This is what the scriptures say. Job 34:29, one of my favorite verses. When thou givest quietness, who then can make trouble? And when he hideth his face, who then can behold him? This is what we see in Hosea 4, when he said, and the people without understanding shall come to ruin. Right, the Lord has hid his face. And this is the example. But now the Lord is waking up his elect. Right, his elect is waking up. It says right here, 1 Peter 3, wives, likewise, wives, be subject under order to your own husband, right? So that even if some do not obey the word, they may be won without a word, but by the conduct of their wives, right? So this is also going into, if you're a good woman and your man is not an Israelite, well, you've got to show yourself to be that submissive woman and how it's supposed to be. So the man would look and say, damn, what kind of religion is this? I like this. And you will persuade him. You know what I'm saying? So you're supposed to submit to your husbands. Let's go to the online etymology and let's look at the word woman. We all know this in the know. Woman, earlier woman, female servant. See that? And the word servant, right? We know what the word servant means, is a form of a slave. You tell a woman she's a a servant to their husband, they have a real problem with that. A personal domestic attendant to a master or lord. So if you have a husband, he's your master and he's your lord. And in a sense, you could say he's your God, right? There's the Most High God, right? There's the Son of the Most High. And then there's men, as 1 Corinthians 11 says. So he's your master or lord. If you go to a job and that's your boss, well, guess what? He's your master. He's your lord. You'd be surprised at how many people don't know that. Okay? So that's what that means. Okay? So let's go. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to touch on that. We've gotten so far apart that it is we're not even going to say a partnership, but the woman is supposed to serve her husband. Let me get another one real quick. Let's get an example of a real woman, right? And this is what you women are supposed to try to be coming into the truth, right? As I always tell brothers, Satan got all the women. Ain't no getting around that. You got them all, but the reason why the Lord allows them to be with you because you may be a man of the Lord. But they're always going to be that, that tension because of Babylon. We got to wait till Hebrews 8, or let me say Isaiah 4, when things start getting rough. Anyway, Sirach 26:14, a silent and loving woman is a gift from the Lord, and there's nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. Now, this all comes from what you see, comes from oppression, poverty, right? And I'm not going to just say poverty, but oppression and a loss of our identity, as Jeremiah 17:4 says, and a re-educating, right, and taking the truth, or let me say the leadership of the male role model out of the situation. Not that some women aren't strong enough to raise their children, but when you take that real role model, that male influence out of the house, you can clearly see this woman is mad at her pappy, right? Or she's mad at a couple of her husbands. You know what I'm saying? So she has no love in her heart to be a woman. They're not women. It might be females, but they're not women. Anyway, and we know what a shameless woman is. Anyway, that's all I have on that.